Secret whispers and dependency. Now that's some currency.
I'm just thinking, like, what can I not get on my own?
Right.
Dependency is just so savage.
Oh, I think Robyn and Ezra are going to get along just fine.
Yep.
Let's go.
Would it be a bad idea, the worst idea, or a brilliant idea if one of the rituals that I led was an actual LARP?
I what I was expecting from the beginning.
I'm sorry, Sarabelle, I didn't hear what you said there.
I don't know what I was expecting with the first half of that sentence.
Because I listened to an interview with a designer who I played one of their games last week, and it was super cool. But one of the other games that they've written is called 100 Years Adoring You, and it's a game that you play I think in a darkened room where like you just like say secrets about you give compliments to each other, except like you don't name who the compliments are being given to. And like when I read the words dirty flutter, I was like, I wonder what that actually means. And then like I was thinking about like games of telephone and like tape loops and that sort of thing. And like the idea of like the game of telephone compliment about someone that then turns into something very, very different by the end, like by the time it gets to them, I think is like one, both a whispered secret of a kind, and two, I'll feel comfortable putting that into play if we need to.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what else like. I don't know quite what else to do with the dirty flutter, but I'm sure that Robyn like named it after like she dealt with smut and like typically on like VHS tapes, and so like I'm thinking of like when a tape doesn't track correctly and like it goes out of sync and you need to adjust it so that way like you can see and hear things correctly.
Yes, love it. It also is a nice mirror to the idea that like the Maelstrom revealed all our secrets, but not whose secrets they were. Have like a good counter to that. It's nice. I'm not sure what the Psychic Maelstrom told me. It probably was, I don't know, it probably wasn't good.
I really like the wording of that I could swallow their pain away, because that could be a lie.
Yeah. I mean, any of them could be a lie.
True.
I kind of want it to be like, again, something that's like both negative and positive. Like either it seems positive, but it's actually not, or vice versa.
Oh, that I could swallow their pain away is definitely that, isn't it?
Yeah, that kind of has both of them buried in there. I like it. Might do that one.
And like, hasn't Lark already suffered enough?
Oh. Every time they deal with the Psychic Maelstrom.
Oh, Lark, killing me.
Let's just make this transition to Iris as awful as possible.
I can't imagine it's like ever easy, right?
Well, I mean, Pity didn't seem to like being an Iris much.
Sarabelle, that is a sweet picture.
Oh, you got a picture? Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Like that. That's very cool.
Quite awesome.
Bethany, since we've got the two returning characters under the relationship questions, I've got who would you do anything to protect? I'm curious what you think if I put Lark on here for that.
That would work, yeah.
I love your little descriptors you're making, Sarabelle. The split knuckles never really heal right, do they? It's perfect.
I'm using this to develop voice. That makes sense.
Hello.
Hey.
Sorry I'm late.
Hi, I'm Bethany. I haven't played with you before, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you've got 5 weeks of this. Not showing up late, just me.
Cool.
You're not going to go to the dentist 5 weeks in a row.
Good, I hope not.
Sounds miserable.
That's the nightmare scenario.
Hello, also to you as well, because I realized that we have not gamed together.
No, this is actually my first Gauntlet game, so that's
Woo!
oh,
Congrats,
Oh.
welcome.
finally made it in off one of those wait lists.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Those dastardly waitlists, they pay off when you least expect it.
Yeah.
So, what have I missed?
Just character creation, and it's not even all of that.
Oh, so we're in the midst of that.
We're in
Yeah,
the middle of that. So,
we've been chatting and glamming it up as we've been making characters and prodding each other with narrative questions and the evocative reading, and Bethany's been amazing.
already, thanks, but
So,
I hate to use
okay.
something amazing right away.
Okay. So the main point to note is that we're still in the midst of character creation, which means I have time to catch up.
Yes, you absolutely do.
Woohoo! I'm still pulling it up, but has anyone grabbed the arrival yet?
Nope.
We left it for you.
Thank you so much. I'm grabbing the arrival, which I thought was extremely fitting when I found out that I had a dentist appointment today. Because I was like, yes, of course. The new guy is showing up late to everything.
Yeah, I played the Arrival last time, and I realized that, like, even if I use the same character, it's like Arrival doesn't necessarily apply anymore. Like, it presumes you're new. So
Yeah. Ooh. Oh man. Okay. I am floored already, and like I have so much to live up to. And I've only looked at the pictures.
oh man, Barry, I just noticed all the text that you filled in on the gender and looks awesome. I love it.
I'm looking at our Enclave members from last time because I'm looking at the relationship questions here, and I see who do I wish was not along with us, and I've got lots of people I can choose from, which is great news. I will not be a rotten person though and choose Shadow, Adita's hungry for blood sister. That we're gonna leave Shadow wherever Shadow is. That's okay with me.
Let her go be creepy somewhere else.
We have a different set of players. Otherwise, I'd be thrilled to have Shadow along. But I think Shadow was too well personified in the first season.
Yep.
Oh, but who do I wish was not traveling with you and why? I can definitely answer that because I think Domino is with us.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I am very excited because as the arrival, I get to say 2 things I brought with me, and I've chosen my dog and my inhaler.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, I figured I would actually be like, yay, a dog, and then I saw the inhaler and I was like, yeah, that too. So full of life and yet still having to breathe.
Breathing is important.
Yeah.
But what happens when it runs out?
That's the question. Have to find out.
Well, hopefully
I
we
have
find out.
medical supplies.
Oh, there. Yeah.
But will I give it over for free?
You have medical supplies and I have scrubs. So, but then again, I also have blood stains. So I'm not really sure how that works. Like, maybe I don't know what I'm doing.
Both of you combined is one whole doctor.
The worrying thing about it isn't that it's one whole doctor. It may end up being that it's one doctor with many, like, holes in other people. Like, they're... I talk too much. Yeah, 2 half doctors does not equal 1 doctor. Thank you, Barry. You can add.
I will let you know that I am a rocket surgeon. Thank you very much.
Okay, but does that mean it's similar to rocket science, or do you just operate only on rockets?
I believe it is a special type of NASA medical science. I got my degree at DeVry. Thank you very much.
I'm not sure how much that currently means. But okay, I'm very proud of you.
So I guess, Peter, you weren't here for any discussion of... we haven't really created the Enclave yet, but basically the idea is we've all escaped from some, unscrupulous institution that was experimenting on all of us, trying to find ways to contract the psychic maelstrom and or control it. And we have recently escaped. Oh, let me... I don't know why my camera is on. Hi. Is that better?
I couldn't tell if that was actually me, because when I typed, my text didn't come through right away.
Oh, okay.
So far, all good on my end.
Okay. I think the injury in this case was more like people just grabbed you, huh? For the how you knew the Enclave existed question.
Yeah. Wait, sorry. Could you repeat that?
Oh, so like I'm just looking at the you were a scavenger living alone before injury forced you to. In this case, it's not so much injury as like some people just grabbed you and dragged you here. You may have been injured in the process, though.
Yeah. I either injured in the process or injured in the escape. Like I probably, when I got out, I had plans to just go my own way, and that didn't really pan out at all because I'm not the kind of person, I think, who will right off the bat say, I can take care of myself, because I'm probably like just used to not saying it or something. I'm figuring it out as I go. I'm like picking options and then working backwards.
Yeah. I keep picking options and then like later picking another option. Go, no, I'll go back and change that first one.
Right, yeah. Like I'm totally finding that. Like I think what's interesting already is like, everybody's chosen these really like different genders and everything, and like I chose man. So it is already like I am in a very weird position of trying to figure out what everything is.
I'm going to link an image that I've been thinking of since Peter picked the arrival and the inhaler.
Nice.
Do you mind if I use that? Because
Go ahead.
you were going inhaler, and the thing that got me was not the fact that you got the inhaler, but the fact that I also put blood stains.
Mm-hmm.
And they're okay. That's, man. I mean, I said before that you're good at this, but like, dang, like that is exactly. I was like, I'm trying to visualize this, and I'm like, nope, I just did. Good job.
I love this beautiful boy and his nerdy glasses.
Yeah.
I mean, well, now I'm feeling much better about my choices. Yay!
And just looking at all the character portraits, it's very clearly one of these things is not like the others.
That You're playing
Yeah.
more like as intended arrival than I was already.
Yeah, I mean, like I very much I like, because part of me, I played this once, and like the thing that got me was just how somehow out of place I felt already. Even I think I played an Iris, and like I was like, next time, whatever it is, I'm playing an Arrival, because that way I feel totally comfortable asking questions.
That's awesome.
I'm building it into the character so that Peter feels better.
Oh, Izzy is traveling with us?
Yeah, I changed it from Domino because I don't think that Izzy appeared on screen that much in the first season,
No.
and that gives that if someone wants to pick on me for doing rituals incorrectly or for doing different rituals than we used to do,
And
then
she's like the teacher's pet too, so like yeah.
For those of us who weren't here, should we wait and make characters to go with those questions?
We can, or you can use other player characters, or you can make up your own NPCs.
Oh,
Whichever works better.
okay. And because I don't see a list of the NPCs.
No, there isn't.
Okay.
I figured I'd take like relationship questions, one to use a PC, one to use like a prior NPC, and then one to make a new NPC.
That's nice. Yeah, I like that. Okay, need to make a new NPC.
I've got a question. I'm just curious, like how everyone's doing with the character stuff, or if it might be helpful to look over to like any of the other the visuals and conflicts, and all of that fun stuff.
I was waiting till everyone was here, but I think that might be helpful to fill in some of the character stuff.
And just so that I know what we're doing, we are not occupying the same space with this queer enclave as we did last time? ? Okay, perfect.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
That's I kind of was trying to think of a way that it would make sense for like 2 returning characters and 3 new characters to do it. I'm like, well, okay, we're not in the same place. Because like those men with guns who showed up at the end of season 1 just like decided to kidnap a bunch of people and experiment on them, as foreseen by Pity, and but I was like, well, we don't want to play that out. That's awful. So like we've just escaped, and people were taken from just all over the place, so they don't necessarily need to know each other. But yeah, that also gives us a chance to do new visuals and conflicts. If any of them jump out at any of you, feel free to pick one and we'll talk about it.
I think I like shanties and tents.
That seems right.
Like if we're on the move at all, then I think that might make a ton of sense.
Yeah. I was thinking like these are things that we could see on the way, or they could just be sort of things about the general world. But yes, we could definitely have shanties and tents.
I like the idea of that, like we have mobile gardens, community gardens in a way.
Mobile gardens, okay.
Like since we're moving a lot, you said, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the idea is we've escaped and we're all like from the same general area, not from the same community necessarily, but we're all like traveling together because we're all going the same direction. Yeah,
and like I've read the world about like, the water being weird in this location. I like to imagine that we keep this kind of pure soil, like in wheelbarrows and stuff like that. That we just there's a plant in here. It has no hallucinogenic properties. Keep it that way.
We're going back into our poisonous marsh, but we'll take some non-poisonous plants from the mainland.
We have 3 potatoes.
Yeah, I like that. Somebody's pulling a cart behind them with full of potted plants.
There's just one person with the potatoes going, we could make so many things with these potatoes, but no, we have 3 of them.
That wouldn't even hold off people if we had a potato gun.
We'd run out of ammo after 3 shots. I suppose we could cut them up, but by that point they start going.
Yeah.
Hash shrapnel.
I don't know. We'd be pretty small fries to anyone that we were trying to take on with that. I warned you.
You are the worst. I love it.
Barry, thank you. I was trying so hard to hold off from making any, and now I've been given permission.
This is a safe place for puns.
Yes, well, it's not like it's the end times.
The pun apocalypse. That's what brings the psychic maelstrom. Too many puns.
You know, that explains why the psychic maelstrom is always known as very punishing. I'll be here all month.
Yep. Speaking of the maelstrom, one of the things I feel like would be cool is eerie warning signs.
Yes.
And just like the constant threat of the maelstrom breaching the void and actually just kind of taking over.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Was like considered a safe space beforehand.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where we, this. So my idea is like this institute we were at, like, was in like a town that hadn't been, hit by the void, and so yeah, it's like, and the psychic maelstrom did eventually show up and like chased people off. So like that can totally happen again.
Yeah.
Nobody knows when it's coming. The guy with the sandwich sign that says, the end is nigh is right. Potentially.
Well, if he's got a sandwich sign, he could just say the end is rye.
I'm thinking about the conflicts, and I mean, it seems like one of the things that we've been kind of talking around and brushing up against, but not necessarily like made as a conflict, but it might make sense to name, would be one of psychic privacy. And the reason I'm thinking about naming that explicitly is like I was thinking about Shandy's intents and like what that means for our community, and like I kind of like the idea of like not having like of people not having like a fixed bunking, and like if we already don't have that psychic privacy, then like it kind of doesn't, like if even our dreams can leak out, then it kind of doesn't matter like who's sleeping near us when they do.
I really like this, and because the problem I wanted, but I did not know how to interact with or introduce, was the full ramifications of queer sex. Which, like, if people are, sharing dreams, fantasies, that kind of stuff,
I could get,
and like in shanties where you have no set bed,
and psychic privacy is that's
a whole nother level of consent.
Yeah. And psychic privacy would definitely be an issue. Like, oh, hey, we just escaped from this place and we don't know each other. And like, it's the maelstrom's already like revealed our secrets, or some of them. I think probably some people would be really like extra, what's the word? Extra like withdrawn and reserved, and other people would just have almost like gotten used to it and just like, okay, cool. Everyone knows everything about me. It's fine.
So I stumbled upon something that perhaps people would want to have in there, and I'm not sure, so I want to run it by people. Synanthropes, which I looked up, and they're a member of a species of wild animal or plant that live near and benefit from an association with humans and the somewhat artificial habitats that humans create around them. So something like raccoons or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That just
The
Yeah.
flubbiest rats.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Cool. That makes me feel very good about my choices.
No, that definitely works, especially like, come across this abandoned, town or something, and there's no people, but there's tons of rats and pigeons and crows and raccoons everywhere.
I'm just imagining Ezra's building up this store to sell their wares, and like this raccoon has this tinier store next to him.
I will miss them.
The other thing that gets me about that is the fact that if it's like we come across a place that's totally abandoned, but there are all these different animals, the other thing that would be interesting is the fact that like we show up and they don't move, they don't freak out, they don't get scared. They're like, oh, all right.
For the intruders.
Providers of food. Good.
More sources, and everyone else is just really uncomfortable.
I guess I didn't like ask like specifically. Is everyone cool with psychic privacy being one of those three conflicts?
Yes.
Yeah.
I see some. Okay, cool. And I put a little description next to Shani's intents there. So give that a peek too.
For conflicts, and definitely feel free to veto this. I'm thinking known abusers. Because like some of the people with us were like definitely in conflict with each other before, maybe. So it's not so much known abusers as like former enemies and people who have like hurt people, and how do you deal with that now? But I am totally fine not doing that.
I think I would have a really hard time figuring out how to bring that on screen.
Okay.
And my mom's most recent job has been dealing with people who were not victims of abuse, but the abusers, and she would vent a lot.
Okay. No problem.
And do we want to put that down as a line or a veil now that it's been brought up? Like issues of abuse?
You know what? Yep. I'm gonna name this, and then if we want to go farther, if we want to go more general, I'm okay with that too. But I think otherwise, like leaving that off as a conflict is like sufficient for me. Like it just seems like making it a conflict it makes it like key to what happens in the game, whereas like if other people have lines or whatever, I'm obviously going to respect that. But I think like just not naming that as a conflict, I think is like great for me.
I have a different one to offer up as a possibility, so let me know what you guys think. Barriers to access. To be honest, I don't have a huge idea for it. It seems...
I mean, it seems like a good idea. I'm not sure how it would...
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy if people come up with ideas that are stronger than that. I'm just like... I think actually of all the things, psychic privacy was probably the one I was going to jump into, and then it was like, oh wait, no, that got picked. We're here. We're good.
Just to revoice my idea of would the idea of like the limitless idea options of queer sex work as a problem, or because I know a lot of people draw veils on that, and I don't want to.
I don't think making it one of the like key conflicts. I'm actually not putting a veil on it so much as I don't necessarily want it to be a main focus for everyone. Like it can totally be a main focus for your character, and I don't know about anyone else, but I'm completely fine with that. I just don't necessarily want everyone to feel obligated.
That makes
make it a thing for their character.
The other one I was thinking about was since Robyn is a new torch. Was there another torch last?
There was.
Could there be maybe goddess cults?
Yes, 100%.
Because as a pagan in America, it is very interesting to see what to say I'm a pagan and then like leave no other context clues and let people run with what they think, and you get a different idea every time.
Yeah, I 100% don't know what it means, and I'm like, I even less know what it's going to mean in this, and so like I am looking forward to seeing how we fill that out as a note. But I do like I do like introducing the cult specifically as a matter of conflict.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm thinking maybe politics of the void, in the sense that like so we had been kind of using the void as like the source of the psychic maelstrom, and like the psychic maelstrom, like we were saying earlier, it's extremely unpleasant to deal with, and like in the moment it like, yeah, it's awful, but at the same time it's useful, or seems to be. And like maybe there could be arguments over like, do we trust this weird force that like seems very interested in dredging up bad memories and like things that hurt people, but ultimately seems to be giving us, you know, sort of useful guidance? Or like, would something that wants to help us actually like make us suffer?
I really like that. Like the first idea that came to my, like the avatars of the void are called sirens because in like real mythology they lead you to destruction.
Oh, what if there are goddess cult? What if there are like is a group called the Sirens and they're a goddess cult?
Oh,
And that's what they're doing. They're like feeding the void.
Yeah, a goddess cult to the void. Like that is such an inverse, because normally you praise like something that you know exists, and this is like you're praising something that preys on like lacking existence. Like it's the void.
just walk people into the ocean, my guy.
Oof. Oh boy.
You won't be eaten by sharks. We do not know what will happen with you. Please sign here.
We don't know what will happen with you, and that's kind of the point.
Yeah. It's the world's best surprise party.
Yeah, it's like the minute we know what we're doing, we move on to the next thing.
Sorry, I had a mobile space, and I'm like, that's a really interesting parallelism with, I'm assuming, like the Institute from Society Intact trying to figure out the mysteries through this like experimentation of the void, where it like diametrically is like the void actively fights being discovered.
Nice. I like that.
It's like the more they try to measure it in some fashion, the more it becomes immeasurable.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ooh. It's like I said the words, and then I suddenly realized what I said, and I was like, ooh.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was like, I get it. Oh, now I get it.
Anybody have any other visuals that they definitely want to see?
Sorry, are we doing goddess cults as the third conflict? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, I think I deselected it.
Also, really quick, Ferret, I know the other idea you had that was like just basically the in conflict one about the limitless possibilities or whatever. I know that's not a main conflict, but I'd still be interested in exploring that sort of potential, because that's part of like what I want to explore with my character.
I thought it was an interesting visual, but I realized I was saying, like, as I told the other people, like I went to college for queer theory and other things like that, and it's like, so I have done the experimenting of the limitless possibilities in real life. So it's like, oh yeah, maybe I don't need that in the game. But like, I understand, like, you know, if our characters intermingle that way, cool.
Yeah, my objection is not to like. I just don't want to feel everyone to feel obligated. If you want to like have your character experience all of the limitless possibilities of queer sex, go for it. Awesome.
Yeah, no. I was more just kind of putting it out there. to kind of like at least have it exist so that like
it can definitely exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hawker deals in dependency. You may have to use your inhaler.
Like giving it to, or like
just don't mind me.
Oh nope, it's too late. I figured it out.
Everyone think about shrines as a visual.
I mean, we have
Is
goddess cult.
Is that doubling up too much, or is there?
I like the ideas like the cults have been forming, like makeshift shrines have been popping up.
Yeah, and maybe there's just like some random things that you think are probably a shrine, but who knows what it's to or who made it?
Oh, that raccoon has such a cute little. What's it doing?
I walked past a bridge like when I first moved where I live now, and kind of like behind some big like mulberry leaves hidden, there was this little like it was like a piece of pipe almost glued to the bridge railing with like little like plastic figures in it and some like marbles and stones and stuff, and I was like, that is clearly a shrine to something, and it's very cool. I have no idea what it's for or put it there.
I like if we're on the move, I like the idea of shrines showing up in any number of contexts. Like some of them could be void related, and others of them could just be exactly that. You know, the inexplicable collection of things. I saw a photo that someone linked. This was a few months ago, of something almost exactly like what you're describing. It was like there was a like a hole in some concrete, or like I don't know if it was under a bridge or what it was, but inside it there were like these weird little toys that were clearly arranged in like it was like a weird nativity.
Yeah, yes. Apparently it's a thing with bridges. I don't know.
Yeah, why not? Okay, I'm gonna put shrines in then.
Yeah, I love seeing just inexplicable, but someone clearly put some effort into this things.
Oh, those words are perfect.
So I maybe have one more that I'm potentially interested in. How does everybody feel about flooding?
Flooding is definitely a thing.
Cool.
Yeah, our first season was on the flooded campus, it was in the flooded ruin of Google's Mountain View campus.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
Now you do.
Yes, I do. I feel pretty good though about going with flooding, because then I like the idea of like, especially if we like try and bring along community gardens or whatever, it's just like half like pulling them and half they're floating on like this.
That was a big thing in the first season, because like it was basically decided that the sea level had risen like more than expected to from climate change, and there were just like vast stretches of marshland, poisonous marshland because it's void water, and like everybody got around on boats and jet skis, but like I think like we were taken far enough inland that this is not a problem here, but like as we go west, you hit the marsh. You got to figure out how to get across it.
Okay.
And maybe the floodwater is even, like rising in some places still.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go with flooding if that's all right with everyone. Cool.
Yep. I guess since we're staring right at it, it's just probably a good time to talk about lines and veils. Does anyone have any other than the ones on there? And of course, also like you can rewind, like either you, or if someone else says something, you can be like, hey, can we rewind that and change that a bit, like during play. But it's easier if you just like if there's things we definitely know to avoid ahead of time. when I put lines and veils, they're usually just like notes to self, because I have a tendency to introduce things that I then don't really want to deal with, as it turns out.
I'm good with what we have.
All good for me.
Everybody, we have okay. So lines, sexual abuse and coercion. Thank you. Yes. I would have put that if no one else had. Extreme violence toward animals and kids and sexual contact with minors. Good. Veils on suicide and torture. The last series we didn't have a lot of explicit like on-screen violence, but there was a lot of like violence sort of talked about and like happening between sessions and off screen. But it kind of made like when there was violent or bloody imagery, like the creepy surgeries, it made it like it had a lot of impact. Yeah, and the hyenas. So I'm thinking, is everyone more or less done with character creation aside from relationship questions?
I haven't done What Secret of Mine the Maelstrom revealed, and I haven't landed on. Well, yeah, we've got the key relationships. I think that I've chosen what I want, but I don't have a clue what it means yet.
Right. Okay. I was thinking like all of the things that require like a lot of questions between characters is kind of the next step. I was like, let's maybe take a break and then come back and like everyone introduce their character and what they know about them so far, and then we can work out relationships and things like that. That makes any sense?
Sounds good.
All right. Back in at 9:37 or so.
Right.
Hey, Cerebel, are you back?
I realized that my camera's not on, so yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So yeah, we all have more or less finished characters, or not finished though, but started. There we go. We all have started characters. Does anyone want to like introduce their character first?
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
Because I at least have some history to. Oh, I'm sorry, Bethany. I was talking over you.
Oh, no, it was yes. Go ahead. I'm looking forward to hearing how Robyn became the Torch.
Sure. Okay. So Robyn used to be our hawker in this place. She's a she/her pronouns. Her gender is Dagger Daddy. She used to not be able to tell you a lie. I mean, or at least she didn't look like she could tell anyone a lie. But something of that honesty honesty has worn on her ever since being taken from the original Enclave. Now she always scans the horizon, always in search of a distant bird song. She used to deal in three things: coffee, liquor, and smut. And coffee was one of the few ways that void water could actually be safely consumed. Liquor being the other, if you distilled it, and so once upon a time, Robyn got her hands on coffee and was doing a fair amount in the distillation business with what I call seaweed rot gut. But since being taken and subjected to untreated void water, Robyn has realized that the what she thought in the Enclave was right, that that people who were void touched and that the gangs that came looking for void touched who wanted who actually wanted the blood of some of our people, including Lark, who is now our Iris. She realized that that there had to be some way that we could treat ourselves for that. And so in the absence of our former soup mother, Robyn has been looked to for spiritual guidance, and she's provided that by leading rituals of letting the blood, which does ease the hold of the void, at least for a time. And one called the Dirty Flutter, which is a hopeful and mischievous ritual. Just because the psychic maelstrom has shared some of our innermost secrets doesn't mean that we don't still have some. And the Dirty Flutter is a way that we kind of commune and give compliments to each other kind of secretly, in kind of like a way of like a weird game of like dirty telephone, almost. And so this when those secrets pass through us, but because we all know them, it's a different experience passing it along to all of those people. So she's been looked to, like, in absence of her ability to track down goods in the wasteland and trade them for dependency and lingering debts. Instead, she's been looked to, and I'm curious. This is not one of the relationship questions, Bethany, but since Lark is a recurring character, I'm curious how I'm curious what Lark thinks about Robyn's leadership, given that Lark was previously entangled with our former Torch.
I think they support it. I think it'll make more sense when I do the character introduction, but I think that they're relieved that it's not them, and they're like, so. It's someone they trust who's like our leader, and it's not them, and yeah, they're very supportive about it.
Cool. I have named a couple of. Should I talk about relationships at this point?
Yeah. If you've got them, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think the other thing that has made Robyn like a leader here is that she's pointed out how the maelstrom and the void have sent wolves to take us away from our people, whoever those people are. It has brought us together as our own pack now, but that doesn't mean that the wolves aren't still out there hungry. I've named one of my key relationships the herbalist who distills my tinctures. And so I've named a character named Dremmer, who was a former client, used to buy my seaweed rot gut. Excuse me. But when I started taking on this role, like that distillation wasn't going to be something that I was going to do, even if I did have all of my equipment back from the old Enclave. And so I gave him my recipe, and he does things sometimes. I also have my chosen sisters as key relationships, which I think would be interesting to tie into the goddess cults, but I don't quite know what I want to land on with that yet. See, I do have I did name an NPC who I wish was not traveling with me. That is Isabel, who was a former student of our former Torch. I don't do the same ceremonies and I think that she takes it really personally, even though we're gathered from other places. We are not the same enclave. We are something new. But she's insistent on some of the old ways. As far as who I would do anything to protect, I think Lark. I think that the answer that you gave me earlier makes sense. I think that you're shouldering your own burden, and I will figure out a way to write that in the relationship questions. The other thing that I haven't landed on yet is who did I meet in the Institute and what have they done for you? I want to listen to our new characters and maybe land on one of those there. I also don't have a secret to reveal yet, but I am going to come up with that when someone else is talking. Do we want to do the questions that we ask left yet? Or do we want to hold on?
I guess maybe wait until the person left of you has done their character, I guess, maybe.
Cool. Okay. Anything else that I can tell y'all about Robyn for right now? Okay. I'm going to answer these other questions and do my best to also pay attention at the same time. It's super hard, but I'll do my best.
Okay, I guess I have the other returning character, so I'll go ahead. Yeah, Lark is now the Iris, reluctantly, and let's see. I guess I'll start at the top here. Yeah, their gender is void, which is basically, I think, a gender, but it kind of just avoids the whole topic. Like, no, and not gender is for other people. But compact frame, they're not very big, but they're like stronger and heavier than they look. Shifty eyes, I don't think they ever look anyone in the eye. I don't think they have ever that much, but I think even less now because like all of this lack of psychic privacy has kind of, I think they're looking for privacy anywhere they can, and like not looking people in the eye is part of that. They were work clothes that I think they just like scrounged from, maybe like the maintenance guy, or at the Institute or something. They were super happy to find work boots that were the right size. And a slender weapon carefully concealed. They just grabbed a scalpel when they escaped. They also have a prosthetic leg, which they had before. They're used to it. Like, it's one of those things that you barely notice, or probably people don't even know they have it. Until occasionally, like, if something happens to it and it glitches and like that's annoying. But Finch did a good job fixing it last time, so hopefully it stays fixed. Because we do not have a Stitcher this time. So I think the thing that the Institute did to them was like they clearly had some connection to the psychic maelstrom before, but they also clearly had no control over it whatsoever. They actually, I think, are from the town that the Institute is in originally. They were a firefighter, and like for the like whatever the equivalent of like the Forest Service was, and they were out working at a wildfire, and just like something happened, and like the psychic maelstrom just sort of possessed them, and they started walking, and they ended up in the queer enclave on the coast with like very little memory of the trip, but they have made this trip before. So like the way they can remember how to get there is through the psychic maelstrom, which has always been deeply unpleasant to deal with. I don't think they've ever. Ooh, those are some good names. But aside from that, they did manage to get 2 psychic gifts out of this experimentation that was performed on them that they are kind of, again, reluctantly glad that they have. Just storm sheltering, which I think is like an ability to at least partially shield other people around them from the psychic maelstrom. At least like from the worst of it. They probably like are aware that it's there and feel it, but it's not as bad. And unearthing, which is kind of I think just more of what the maelstrom does, just like bringing memories and images and thoughts to the surface and like projecting them out around everybody. Actually, I don't know. Wait, I don't think that is a psychic gift. I think that's just what the maelstrom does. So I don't think that's what Lark does. Let me change that. I will come up with something else. And what the psychic maelstrom told you right now, I have that I could swallow their pain away. Not sure on the details of that. It could have something to do with the storm sheltering. It could be like shielding others by like taking the brunt of it themselves. It could be that. My key relationships are a wasteland mercenary who makes use of my talents, which I think could be Ezra, maybe? If that works.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool, especially because I think she is still kind of skitched out by everything that's going on and hasn't really had the deeper relationship with the maelstrom that Lark has.
So someone who could like protect you from it a little bit.
Yeah,
you good ally to have. Cool. And an impure soul I monitor carefully. I think this is probably an NPC. I wonder if maybe, so we're not using Shadow, but I wonder if maybe this is like one of Shadow's gang members, or like another, or just someone, a member of another gang from like the way.
I'll offer up a member of my gang.
Oh, good. There we go. Same.
I can name them. Let's just go with Velour.
With what name?
I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. Cool. Oh, velour, like the fabric. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Where did you come from? I was taken along with Robyn from the Queer Enclave, which I had just like come back to and joined for good and like kind of reconciled with Misha and like, yeah, things were good. No. And yeah, so my relationship questions: who was taken along with you and how you feel about them? Robyn. We have each other's backs, and I'm glad she's taken on the role of leader. And I think there probably is someone I wish wasn't traveling with us, but I don't know who. I'll do the other questions after people introduce theirs. And what secret of yours did the Maelstrom reveal? I kind of want to ask if everyone's okay with this because it's a little bit dark. I think during the time like that like wave of psychic maelstrom that like chased all of the scientists and other employees of the Institute off, I think they got a flash of what looked like their hands on like I think that it's possible they murdered someone while like in that fugue state after the like when the psychic maelstrom had control of them. But it's just like a brief flash, and they're not sure that it's true, but it feels true. And the tool that they're using, it's their hands, what look like their hands anyway, holding the handle of this. Anyone know what a Pulaski is? It's basically an axe with an extra piece on it. Anyway, it's a tool used in wildland firefighting, and like who else here would have one of those ever? So they assume that like, okay, this image has to be me. Whether it's the maelstrom fucking with them or like this actually happened is probably a question that's going to haunt them a lot, if that's all right. Okay.
Do they know who they killed?
I don't think so. I think it's someone they don't recognize.
I can go next if that's
So-
wanted.
Cool.
Okay. I am playing Rezzi Nocturnal, the Tiger. He, they pronouns. Gender is gargoyle. He has a tattooed face, and description-wise, tattooed like old meat was, telling me my purpose and place. Solid arms that carry the weight like Atlas, but do not shrug. Scrounge ups because you keep what you can find, and flashy acquisitions because you accessorize. The way I'm thinking about it is that Rezzi, obviously not their original name and all that stuff, was these group of kids that were born after the psychic maelstrom was discovered, like near one of the contaminated places, or was sold, bought. What he grew up in the Institute, for the lack of a better term, with other kids, and they had different tutors, different things. You know, so they were obviously tattooed with I'm thinking void water and vodka to distill it, like see if they could focus their powers or the void or whatever. And they were saved by Mrs. Prim, who was one of their tutors, one of the nicest ones, who had an attack of conscience, like, what are we doing to kids? We can't do this. We've got to get out of here. And Rezzi was not the strongest. Rezzi was not the smartest. He was the quietest and the wisest, and her night eyes. And he led the successful night escape where she got shot, and he was wise enough to use the medical books she brought with him, and he fixed her up for the most part. She never walked right again, but she walked again. And Miss Prim led the group through, I guess, the marshes or wherever it was, to the current enclave, or near enough. And that's where they met one of my relationships, Tenpenny, who could provide for Mrs. Prim the way none of us kids could, romantically. And we grew up as a family of scavengers for a while. It was good for a while, but we've always had to be strong. We're still going to be strong. And with the Institute coming back and having killed Mrs. Prim and taken us to where we met y'all, we know we've got to be stronger. And that's why we're a gang now. We're not just a family. And our gang trappings are medical supplies that we stole from the Institutes. Those bastards stole from us, we'll take from them. And chains and rusty pipes, because when words fail, bludgeoning instruments usually succeed. Our gang's biggest flaw, because we are Institute kiddies, is that our actions bleed psychic instability to the area. And my key relationships, there is Tenpenny, who is described as the aging dyke who cooks me dinner sometimes, which I don't think Tenpenny ever loved us kids. She loved Mrs. Prim. And Mrs. Prim loved us So she clings to that, like Mrs. Prim's love more than her love for us. And the dinners are kind of a tradition. Anyone in the gang can show up. Portions are small, but it's friendly. And the other relationship is my son, Levi Diurnal, who is just old enough to think he can join the gang and just young enough where I don't want him to yet. And he's not my blood son. We found the group, Mrs. Prim found him young, abandoned, and we had to raise him. We can't leave him out there. And I came from I worked at the Institute. I was science veal, poked and prodded, tied down until she came for us. I think who would I do anything to protect will be my son, Levi. The other questions, I'm not quite sure. I'll see about making NPCs or tying them to PCs when I hear more about them. And what secret of mine did the Maelstrom reveal? I'm thinking the Maelstrom, probably the one dangerous thing for a gang leader is that it revealed my insecurities about running the gang. Like, am I strong enough to be the leader? Am I smart enough? Am I wise enough? Am I fair enough? Just every time I make a decision, there's almost like this hive mind there was with the Maelstrom, the group knew my insecurities as well as what I projected for a while. Maybe they still do.
I've put something in my secret that the Maelstrom revealed. If now is a good time to jump back to that.
Yeah, ouch.
So the prior enclave was invaded after our Stitcher had turned something on that ended up it put us on the internet, and we had that because of a deal that Robyn made. So I think that everyone knows that the enclave being invaded was her fault because she made a bad deal.
Yeah, and I may change my secret. That's the best I could come up with. Though I have another idea that if people are that the Maelstrom revealed, I keep the murder weapon that killed my tutor mother figure that the Institute used.
So use whichever one you like better. I like that one because it's concrete. And also has several different implications that it could, some people who know that now probably think it's incredibly creepy, and other people are like, oh, okay, that is exactly appropriate. You should keep that weapon so that you can take revenge with it,
So that's me for whoever wants to go next.
Yeah, I'll go if that's cool with everyone. So I'm playing Ezra, she, they pronouns. They're a hawker with a gender fluid with a tired face and calloused hands. And I feel like she was one of the would be a heavy hitter in a gang like Rezzi's. Was always that person who would go out and scout out and knock a couple heads together if need be to get what they needed to get done. And I feel like they were like a motorcycle gang that would go around and scavenge and sell just to, acquire the necessities that they needed to survive. And the three things that they provide are deliveries, again, being able to go out and scavenge and deliver what needs to be delivered and bring back what is needed for the group, bodyguarding, and whatever people are chasing at the time. They ask for whispered secrets in return and dependency. And the two key relationships that I have here are my ingenue assistant, who I don't know if they would be in the group or not at the moment, Kit, and they're more of a smooth talker and negotiator than Ezra is. And my kids, who were left behind when I was taken. So they're twins. They are actually her biological children. So Caleb and Calypso, and I imagine them being maybe 3, 4, like small children. I haven't figured out my relationship questions yet. Who was left behind? I feel like the easy answer is like my kids.
Yeah, that definitely seems like the obvious answer. But yeah, if you come up with someone else, then cool.
And I met Lark in my time in the Institute, and I feel like there should be an exchange of some sort for like your services for something that you need from me.
We can come up with that in play. Like, you know, the next time it happens, maybe we could.
And someone was taking along with me, and it might be Kid. I'm gonna hang out, knock that idea around for a bit. And this is also subject to change, but I think when the Institute came for their gang, Ezra, in an attempt to like save her own family, tried to sell out the leader of their gang, so that at least some of the more vulnerable parts of their group would be protected. So there is always that lingering doubt of who is she willing to sell out from this group.
Is the leader of your gang with this group, or were they taken too? Or
I think it's more interesting if they were. I don't know if they. I think they might have been taken. I don't know if they escaped with us.
okay. Oh, that's it. That's extra interesting. If they didn't, like, what happened to them?
Yeah.
Just like, well, now that they know you sold them out, maybe you're like, let's leave before they catch up.
Bye. Is there anything else that you guys need to know from me?
I don't think so.
All right. Cool.
All right. Last and who knows about least. I'm playing the Arrival. Burton, he, him pronouns. His gender is male. He's a man. He's got a hunched frame in the sense that people don't pay attention to you if you blend in with everyone else. And he's got gloved hands because he's lived this long, but he's not going to be an arrogant idiot by risking it. They say always use protection, and he's got them. To go along with that, his wardrobe is comprised of scrubs, which I think either he got a long time ago or he got on his way out of the Institute. I kind of like the idea that he kind of grabbed something on the way out and didn't really know what it was and looked down and it was just scrubs. And so now he's just like, well, I'm not going to get rid of it, but I'm not sure what to do with it. And bloodstains, because, you know, when everyone else is being put out, you can't put those out. They're there. They're bloody. There's too many to count. Two things I brought with me. My dog, Bella, golden retriever. She probably, honestly, shouldn't have brought her along, and I'm still surprised she's lived this long, but she's a good girl. And I brought my inhaler because I feel the need to breathe. So how I knew the Enclave existed, I was a scavenger living alone, and then the Institute took me, and when I escaped with everyone else, I was injured in the process, I think. Got a pretty heavy... I think it was a bullet wound, or maybe even just a long gash across the side of my chest. And I made the split-second decision to hightail it with everyone else instead of in the other direction.
So how did you keep your dog? You were kidnapped a lot, too, and like how did you keep your dog with you?
During my time in the Institute, I didn't keep her with me. They separated her from me, and I think actually that's a big reason why I was injured, was because I refused to leave unless I got her out.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And I did. Yeah. No. Same, Barry. Same. If they experimented on her, and I don't know if they did. And there's a big part of me that doesn't want to know. Where I got her out of, she was just in a crate, and she didn't look too bad, but human emotion won out. Oh, God. I really hope she can't shoot buzzsaws. I just want her to be my dog. Oh, God. So my key relationships... So I've got the gentle soul who invited me to share their bed. I've created an NPC. They go by the name of Oak. But I don't have that fully fleshed out yet. I think it was from before I think they were a person that I met shortly before I was taken by the Institute, and I think they were taken too. I don't know what happened to them. We were separated, and the only reason that they stay in my mind is because they were kind to me, and most people either aren't or overlook me completely. And then the other key relationship is my guide, which I very much believe is going to be one of the PCs. I'm not sure.
What are they guiding you in? Like,
my thought is
getting from place to place guide, or like a spiritual guide, or
my thought is that it's a guide to the Enclave itself, or just figuring out how I might fit into it, because I kind of feel like as Burton, I exist still in this sort of binary world of you're either this or this. And it's not that I don't want to open my mind, it's just that I haven't. No one's done that yet. And so I kind of look around and I see all these different people with all their different stories, and I'm not sure how much I want to know because I'm not sure how long I'll be here.
I mean, that guide sounds like maybe Robyn.
Sounds like maybe. Yeah, I mean, why don't you put that in, and we'll see what that looks like. Yeah.
I'm very much willing to explore that and see how that plays out. Okay, where I came from, I was alone in the wastelands, and this was before the Institute. And I don't know for how long. It's easier to think I do better on my own than hurt more people. And yes, more. I think I'm still figuring out what I did before, but I think a lot of how I hurt people is I abandon them. I get out of there before I can get too close. It's just easier in my mind, better rate of survival, or at least that's what I tell myself because I'm still alive. And then my relationship questions, I answered the bottom one. Who would you do anything to protect? I think I answered that on my way out of the Institute, Bella.
Yeah.
As for people, I don't know yet. I know I'd protect my dog. And I have a lot of time to figure out if there are any additions to that. Who was taken along with you? I think I started to answer that with Oak. And I think I'm still... Part of me wishes I still had time to think about how I feel about them, because I don't know where they are. So part of me is going, well, what could have been? And the other part of me is like, it probably isn't or won't be. So get it out of your head. And then, who did you meet in the Institute? What have they done for you? I mean, I think this kind of goes back. I think, I probably met... I mean, I could have met just about anyone, really.
I'll volunteer.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any idea what you might have done for me?
Probably provided hope. That it seems that Burton is really worried about like how good of a person he is. And it's like one thing that Rezzi knows from Mrs. Prim as tutor and whatnot is like when someone's a good person, when someone's not, to a degree. Or at least he likes to think he does. So he probably like kept your spirits up, and like he may not have been very chatty, but when he was chatty, it was useful.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I like that. Okay. And then... Okay. Who's taken along with you? Oak, how do you feel about them? Who knows? That's kind of my thing. What secret of yours did the Maelstrom reveal? Oh, man. I don't really know. I mean, I think with who I am, I don't know if I had much prior experience with the Maelstrom. So whatever it uncovered was either like a really big and deep thing, or it was just like it passed over and I was like, here, I have no idea what I'm giving you.
You have a wife, don't you, or in one of your relationships?
I had I changed that out, but I'm perfectly willing to make that my secret.
Like maybe the Maelstrom lets you know that your partner is still waiting.
Oh, and everyone else knows that, and I just don't want to go. Oh, yeah. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Cool. That actually covers just about everything for me.
Can I throw out another quick question?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm sorry. This is off of my relationship questions. Who did you meet in the Institute? What have they done for you? Sarabelle, what do you think about Ezra like being identified by Robyn as like someone who can get things done in the wasteland? And like that giving Robyn like the kind of like the ability to like to let herself out of that job.
Yes.
Not that will end up being a dependency by any means. Perfect. Thank you.
I am your chance to move on past this.
100%.
Do that.
Ooh, I love this. I love this a lot.
That's awesome. Cool. Okay, let's see. I guess I could ask left. So, Robyn, how have I unsettled you in recent days?
Did you end up figuring out what your second psychic talent was?
Oh, no, I haven't. Would it be the settling one?
Well, I don't know. I'm only asking that to have some to have something to work with.
I guess like I mean, unearthing, I think, is not necessarily something that Lark does. I think that's something just the Maelstrom does on its own, and it doesn't need any people to do. But
it's different if you choose to unearth something, though, isn't it?
Maybe, yeah. Oh, wait. No, unearthing in this case is finding the way, like literally, using it as a compass.
Oh, interesting.
The way home.
Interesting. Running down the list here.
Home is a good. Maybe that could be metaphorical as well as literal.
Do you still have the Pulaski?
No.
No. And 2, what have you been doing to keep your mind off it?
Oh, good question.
Like you used to do like anything to prove yourself, but having gotten past that and like into like whatever routines that you did in the Enclave before, like is there something that you've like picked up or something that you've stopped doing that would be noticeable?
Okay, let's that is an excellent question, and I don't know what would have changed. I'm trying to remember if there was anything.
Yeah, I'm jumping back to the other notes, which is a total cheat move, but I'm doing it.
It could just be that I talk a lot last time.
Did you talk a lot last time? I'm trying to place. You were like you used to be super nervous. Like with the leader, with like the leaders in the community and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like your like the nervousness that I'm used to seeing in you has been replaced with like steel.
Yeah, it looks like steel, but I think it's really like distraction. But it's like
Ooh, how about this? Like I used to think of you as like a as like one of Finch's windups. But now I just see you as like a coiled spring.
I like that. Yeah. I think Robyn might be the only one who would recognize that like flash of memory as like would associate that with Lark too.
Okay.
I don't know that anyone else would have known like from just that brief image of like a hands and an axe and like a vague maybe even like not long enough to see the features of the person that they were swinging the axe at. Maybe
if this works for you, I think changing like trading like the nervous but productive energy that Lark had for just tension. I think that's interesting and cool if that works for you.
Yes, that I like that.
Okay, cool. Can I write what I'm thinking into that box?
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Cool. Okay. Do you want me to ask the next question, or should we pass it to Sarabelle? Or does anyone care? Like jump in whenever, I guess.
Yeah. No, I'll ask, why have I been sizing you up recently?
Okay, let's see. I can shield you from the maelstrom. Oh, I know. It's the question that you asked out of character.
Yeah.
what are you going to ask for this? Like, what, when you decide to collect what I owe you for this, what is it going to be?
I think that Lark might be the only person who has one up on her. And that's really unsettling.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah, the dependence goes the other way on that in that particular instance. That's got to be a little weird.
And I think it keeps her on edge constantly because she never knows when that other shoe is going to drop.
Yep. And
oh, go ahead.
Like, would you believe if I said nothing?
No.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I could say it as much as I want, and you'll just be like, no, that just means it's going to be worse when you finally.
you don't just give something for nothing. Everybody needs something.
Cool. I like that a lot.
Should I go next?
Yeah.
Sure.
Ezra, how did I capture your attention yesterday?
The thing about like Rezzi, I feel like the two of them are kindred spirits, but not quite. I feel like she sees a little bit of herself in Rezzi.
Like, the way it seems is that Ezra saw the gang as a tool. Yeah. Rezzi sees the gang as the family.
I think Ezra might be a little bit jealous of that, like having that connection with people that aren't your blood.
Yeah, that could have been like, you could have walked in on me tutoring Levy, my son, because I'm not going to let my son grow up to be an idiot like a lot of these other people. And it's like, it's that bond. You know, like, Levy is not related to me. We're not the same race. We're not the same age. We don't come from the same place. But I love the bastard.
Yeah. That's sweet.
All right. I'll go next. All right. Rezzi, what was the first thing you noticed about me?
This is going to be a bit of a twofold answer. Your eyes, after I got used to the glare from the glasses, because that's how I weighed your soul.
Oh. Not the answer. Okay. I like it. Yeah.
Your eyes weren't greedy. They weren't appraising. They weren't acquisitive. They were, to quote Goldilocks, just right.
So, Burton, recognizing that Robyn is your guide, are you among my followers and devotees?
So I think the answer to this is really, I'm in a state of transition. I'm figuring out if I am or not. I'm not sure. You are absolutely my guide, but because I know almost nothing about what it is a lot of these people do, you know, I don't feel comfortable making a firm answer like that. And also because apparently throughout writing Burton, I've realized, boy, is he a commitment phobe.
So I'm hearing no.
Thanks. Yeah, the answer's no. Thanks for setting that straight. I just saw you wrote that down. That makes me really happy.
I guess I have a really Burton, I met you in the Institute. What did you do for me there? I totally understand your wanting to save your dog, by the way. I think Lark is on board with that.
Yeah, and I think so. I think that kind of ties in with the escape, and it's Lark assisted Burton with getting Bella out of there, and I think. Oh yeah, I think that the injury Burton suffered was because he got in the way, and it was meant for Lark.
Okay. Yeah, that is a thing that you did for me. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, and for one of my relationship questions, I've changed that who do you wish wasn't traveling with you? Why? I answered that as Burton, as he has so much to live for. Why is he with us in the trash?
I'm both incredibly touched and also a little bit like instinctively, hey, I belong in the trash as much as everyone else.
I like Burton.
With you guys, I want to be garbage too.
We're here. I don't belong in the trash.
I mean, I just like the idea that this is the first group of people he's found who are like, you don't belong in the trash. And he's like, exactly for that reason. You guys think I'm better than that? And I'm here to prove that, no, I am on the same exact level. Barry. Desperate trash boy. Oh my god, that's exact. Oh, okay. I've gotten it all out. No, I haven't. Stop.
Oh no, we still have to like pick stuff for the world stuff, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I always, yeah. I have forgotten that in every game that has that I've played.
Oh, we're really good at playing Dream Askew. It's a good thing we've got 5 sessions. My goodness.
I mean, our character creation is kind of gameplay as we've been doing, so that's good.
It's true.
Yeah. Okay. So, second tab in the spreadsheet there is the setting elements, and the thing is, you pick one that you don't think that you want in the game, but that you don't think your character will deal with much, so that you're not having a conversation with yourself. I'm pretty sure I'm not picking the Psychic Maelstrom.
I think I'm going to look at the varied scarcities.
I'm gonna pick up the digital realm.
So considering I feel like I come so much from the Society Intact, I'm actually going to go the total opposite and go the Earth itself.
Cool. That was the other one I did not want to pick up. I think Psychic Maelstrom and Earth itself are the ones that I'm probably going to deal with the most. So I guess I can take Outlying Gangs. Or...
I feel like outlying gangs would be something Rezzi would deal with a lot. That's why I didn't take it.
Mhm.
But I was worried that I might deal with a psychic maelstrom. But if you feel that,
I don't know what. Yeah, you might. The other thing is that like if you do find yourself, interacting with that setting element, then like you can put that down and pick something else up,
okay, so I'll switch to psychic
or you can
maelstrom.
hand it to somebody else. It's yeah. So like if you do find yourself dealing with a psychic maelstrom, just hand it off to someone else. You can swap these, which is handy. Although at one point last time we had one person playing all of them.
Yeah, we made this a GM'd game
Yeah.
accidentally.
Whoops, all GMs.
Whoops, one GM.
Yeah, it was a case where all of the characters except for one were in a scene together, so that one person got to be all of the setting elements at once. Let's see. So, hey, the outlying gangs don't want mutant blood anymore, I don't think. I think we've got that covered. Or maybe no. Let's I mean, it depends on the gangs, I guess, but some of them probably just want somewhere safe to sleep, and others want the smell of fear. So I'm gonna pick those two.
Oh my god, the Earth itself is so different when we get away from where the Enclave originally was. Peter, are you do you feel locked in on Reciprocity and Eden Renewed? Because those are both super interesting to me.
I mean, I don't feel super locked in, but if you like them, I'm perfectly happy to stick with them.
Well, so the reason that I bring it up is that like our desires for the Earth itself in the prior game were trembling awe and strange new forms. And so this is so different that I think that it's really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, because I actually because coming at it from a player perspective and with the way that the Institute seems to be encroaching on everything, we're causing ourselves enough pain. And I think it would be interesting if the Earth itself, its goal was less about continuing that and more about returning us to how we once were. And in a way, that also can kind of feel like trembling awe, because to kind of go back to the way things were, especially with I think I said Eden Renewed, everything was looked at with these eyes of, I have, I'm seeing these things for the first time. And I feel like everything has changed so much that it is what it is. Like, we are seeing so many things almost for the first time.
Cool.
On the varied scarcities, I've chosen Suffering Without, which I think is probably like an easy, not easy, but like that's probably something that we'll be able to tap on. Like if we are on the go, then there are all manner of things that we could be in search of and not able to find.
Mm-hmm.
The other one that I chose was Uncomfortable Bargains. Just as I just want that reminder just hanging over me.
So that Robyn has no experience with that.
Yeah, no.
Cool.
Do we want to pick something for the Society Intact?
Well, let's see. What it wanted before was self-preservation and a technological solution. I don't know if that's changed or not.
Can I make a suggestion of one?
Please.
It looks like one of the desires is ignorance of outsiders. And if I come at all from the Society Intact, maybe I'm not an outlier, maybe I'm a symptom.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of like Prophet Eternal. That seems very institute-y. I don't know.
Yeah.
As I was playing originally anarcho-capitalist or anarcho-communist, not capitalist. There are no anarcho-capitalist. Anarcho-communist before that is greatly up my alley.
Let's throw that on there then and see what we end up doing with it.
Yep.
Oh, I need to remember how we play this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at lures and weak moves real quick.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's anything that jumps straight to mind.
How long has it been since we escaped? Like, it could be anything from immediately, like 5 minutes ago, to a couple weeks ago.
I would like at least 2 weeks on my end.
Okay.
Just like enough time to feel stressful in your success. Like we've escaped, maybe, kind of. Are they still after us?
Right. Okay. So you've like, yay, we escaped, everything's great. Oh wait, we have hundreds and hundreds of miles of wasteland to cross. Yeah. Okay.
I know that we've been talking about like being on the move, but with the notes that we've got of shanties and tents, maybe we've got like some current shelter, but the goal is to be able to be mobile.
Okay.
So I don't know. That gives us like a current location to start from, and maybe maybe the need to be able to get out and do some of the scavenging.
That's good.
In order to get on the move. ?
Yeah.
I remember you talking about like sort of non-destroyed housing and things like that. Like maybe we're in abandoned suburbs at the moment, like living in Stepford prisons, little places that we're reimagining. But
Like a little, like not even suburbs, like exurbs.
yeah,
Yeah, and there's got to be a lot of little like abandoned houses with like a lot of space in between them, and a lot of little bits of forest where anybody could be hiding and anything, because mutant animals are a thing.
And just having to start up the scavenging process of acquiring the goods that we don't even know what we're going to need, because we don't know how long we're going to be moving.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out if we can fit it all on our backs, on whatever we can stick wheels onto.
Nice.
I'm going to put whatever we can stick wheels onto the shanties and tents note here too.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay. Does anyone have like a lure or a weak move that they want to use to start with? Given that, okay, I like that. Like temporarily, we're just kind of like taking a short breather, planning, like, and gathering stuff. And
oh, I would like to use a weak move that I have used in my real life way too many times. I would like to get high at the worst possible moment.
Classic tiger move.
I think I'm supposed to be on watch, but I've been on most every watch. I've been on like 80% of the watches since we've escaped. I need a bit of a break. And I've been reading this journal, and these mushrooms aren't poisonous. And maybe with the void water they've been soaking up, they're a bit extra hallucinogenic. Because seeing things never fucks with you.
To add on to that, so I think if Rezzi's out there just getting really high, I think that Burton's probably gonna end up sort of out that direction, just trying to get Bella moving, because I feel like the first week and a half she'd always want to take rests just about everywhere, and even I think the first time or two when Bella really rested, that was when everybody started setting up camp. Hmm?
Oh, sorry. I couldn't tell if Ferret was trying to make Rezzi psychically vulnerable by eating mushrooms.
I am not trying to. If it happens,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know Burton's going to be sort of out there trying to get Bella up and moving.
I think like what happens is that you're walking by one of those houses that has a lot of space, and Bella smells Rezzi and goes
Oh.
bounding off like to the side and like towards the woods. What it looks like.
Yeah,
And you're coming after, and you just catch Rezzi like tail in, like the stem of a mushroom going into his mouth.
yeah, yeah. And I'm like running, but like also still kind of holding my side a little bit because like I've been semi-patched up, but like not super well. And so I'm just kind of like, oh my god, come on! Like, what could possibly be out here right now? Are you getting high?
Look, I deserve it. I've been watching out for us for a long time. Levy can prove himself. I'm sure it's. He's not in command, but they'll listen. He's smart.
I'm not judging, despite my tone. Um, how much of that have you got?
Are you asking to join?
Yeah, I think so.
I think there should be someone here who's not out of their gourd besides Bella.
Okay.
Well, no one was going to be here besides me, and he'll hand a mushroom over.
Okay. And I think yeah, I think I'm just gonna kind of like look at it and go, okay, so what are you supposed to do with it? Like how do you?
And Rezzi, like you can see his eyes beginning, like the pupils beginning to get a bit bigger, and he just spews psilocybin facts. And it's like you eat it, it is consumed, it processes in the blood, like just way too much information that is scientific about it.
Yeah, and I think like every other fact, I'm trying to be like, okay, yeah, I get it. So I have to eat it. Okay, and I'm gonna eat it.
And Rezzi sort of like as the drugs are kicking in, he starts petting Bella. It's like, so you and your wife have any kids?
Okay, so now I'm going to use one of my real life weak moves, and I'm going to confess something and seek forgiveness. And I'm going to say, we used to. Yeah, we had a son, Jim. Yeah, past tense.
You didn't give him to the Institute, did you?
No, no, because then wouldn't have even bothered trying to escape. Would have been a lot worse. No, but he and Lila were the first two I have ended up abandoning. It wasn't on purpose. I just everything one night everything just started going haywire. This was, early apocalypse days, and just everything went haywire, and I didn't know what was going on, and I thought they were right behind me, and I ran, and I've still been running, and I don't even know if I can run back. And what am I going to do if I run back?
I have a question for Rezzi from the Psychic Maelstrom.
Oh, goody.
So as you're sitting there petting Bella while Burton is telling you about his son, I want to know like what it is about like stroking Bella's fur that is like that's. What does it feel for you to be both like stroking her fur and for that sensation to be falling completely away from your fingertips?
What Rezzi remembers about her fur reminds him of one of the few toys he was allowed as a child. And now that it's falling, it's reminding him he's bombarded by memories of those who did not make it out when they escaped. The dropped trinkets, the broken totems, that kind of thing.
And Burton, what was Jack's? Or I'm sorry, what was your son's name?
Jim. I just made it up. It's not written down.
No, that's okay. Okay. What was Jim's favorite toy that you remember? As you're experiencing this psychic bleed from Rezzi.
He had a little Transformers toy. It was about the size of a Hot Wheels, and it would, it was one of those old things that could change in and out of. I think it was Bumblebee. I don't know. It was really hard for me to keep track of that sort of thing, but he always had it with him, and he'd always, run around and make vroom vroom noises, and the real version of that sound was one of the last things I heard as I was running away from home.
And I think I think that that motor revving is like echoing in your ears.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In your ears because there's a real sound of a motor revving somewhere not that far away. You don't see it, but you hear it. And I think at some point you realize that, oh, that's real. And Bella starts barking.
Yeah, Bella barking is definitely what gets me up, because if it was just me hearing it from a memory, she'd have no reason to react. So I kind of jump up and
I want to activate your lore move, which is I want to give you the opportunity to help the community by getting me to my supplies so I can clean up, because I done fucked up.
Yeah.
So I think Burton gets up and like, have you eaten your mushroom yet, or just?
I'd kind of yeah. That was I'd eaten it, and that was why I was, I think, experiencing the psychic maelstrom the same way, or similar way you were. But it's early days, so I don't think it's quite affecting me as strongly.
And Rezzi just reaches out and puts his arm around you, and like he's not even cognizant enough to not put it on your. It's like it's on your hurt side, was like, oh, fuck. This is hitting strong. We gotta go.
Yeah.
Now, that sounds... Bella's smart. Help me.
I'm helping.
Supplies.
Yeah. Okay, supplies? Where?
And he, like, points to, like, this house, like, a block away, basically. In there? 2708 Colton.
Okay. 2708 Colton. Okay. And, like, I'm going to try and hold on to those words as, like, I'm, just hurting and limping and trying to move with another person. Well, I think Bella's, like, excited enough that she's, like, kind of running in circles around me as I'm moving forward. Like, go ahead.
And Rezzi just, like, oh, if only it was Birdsong. I could have told Robyn.
Yeah, so I'll get you to that house with the supplies and...
Because if we're going to play a bit more, I think Ezra might be with my gang, if that's okay for me to put her there.
Yeah. Also, question: what time of day is it?
This was the morning excursion. He thought he would have time to, get high and hear back, and then, like, everything would be fine, and he'd be sober by dinner time. Nope.
I feel like if we tilt it back a little bit, so it's like early morning, almost dawn. I'm gonna hit one of my own weak moves, and walk into a situation unarmed and unprepared. And I just see, like, this gang of, like, just children led by Ezra just stumbling out of, like, a house somewhere, hearing the rev of the engine in the distance, just not knowing what the fuck is going on, because I think this is the most artificial sound we've heard in, like, a week.
And Rezzi just looks at the kids you have. Oh, wow.
What the fuck?
Exactly. So up.
He's
Ass early. What the hell?
He's high as balls.
The balls hang low.
It's worse than I thought.
And you let him.
Oh, I didn't have time to let him. He'd already started.
I'm 3 deep.
Oh, that's 2 more than I thought.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of both of you, but what the fuck is that sound?
I have no idea. I'm helping him get... You said you needed supplies?
Medical supplies. I can... Syndrome, symptom, solution. Solution to problem, solution to this.
As much as I want to take credit for this being my fault, I do not. This is not my fault.
Burton helped. He's so cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna beat the shit out of both of you after I beat the shit out of whoever the fuck is out there.
Okay.
Rezzi, what is it about Burton that is the one absolute coolest thing about him right now? And then second part of that question, Ezra, why does it drive you completely bonkers?
He's what Rezzi imagines when Rezzi hears, like, I don't want to, like, use the word hero too, like, most people think of superheroes. Rezzi thinks of people who actually put their life on the line, like soldiers, old EMTs, that kind of stuff. And Burton is just, like, put his body and himself on the line.
So Ezra, why does this hero worship drive you bonkers?
Because Burton hasn't proved himself yet.
Did Burton was Burton injured because he did that, put himself on the way on purpose, or did it just happen accidentally?
So
and
Burton
wasn't said which it was.
No. Burton says it was an accident. But it was absolutely on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think that he's not about the hero worship either. He doesn't want to be seen as this like amazing person, because then it's that much harder to leave later.
To fit in with the trash too.
Right. He's like, I'm not better than anyone else. Why are we? Please stop. And just Rezzi's doing that, and he's like, no.
Oh.
Well, your opportunity to not be a hero,
Is now.
yeah, it's now. That engine, you see something coming around the bend, and it's a vehicle. It looks like 2.5 motorcycles welded together with some sort of truck bed attached behind them. And there's someone's driving, and there are 3 people in the truck bed, and it's dawn. What's up? Because they're like yelling loudly. They look like they're in the middle of having a party on this like flatbed behind this hybrid motorcycle thing.
Fucking wow.
They're also, you notice that 2 of them have guns, that they're kind of waving in the air like
Oh.